So I'm just going to run through a couple of movements that may be helpful for symptoms of sciatica or piriformis syndrome. Those sort of symptoms give you a pain in the butt and down the leg as well sometimes. These movements are also brilliant just after a day in the garden. So the first movement I'm going to do, specifically targeting the tenderness that you tend to get in the butt with these symptoms, can be done on a chair or can be done on the floor. So I'm just going to show you this movement. It's worth mentioning that these are definitely worth a try, but if your symptoms persist, then go and see your GP and get a referral to physio or go direct to a physio. Okay, so you sit towards the front of the chair and we bring, if you can, one foot onto the opposite thigh, sit nice and tall. And then from here, so we're aiming for the stretch to happen in this area here, and even under here. So the foot comes on the thigh. If that straight away brings on some release or some stretching, which can be quite intense, don't do anything else. If you feel like nothing's really happening, then lift the heel on this side. If that then brings on something fairly intense, then great. If not, you can also add a little bit of downward pressure onto this knee here. Okay, and you hold it once you've got that edge or that release work happening. Hold for about 40 to 60 seconds. And if that's too long, then stay with 10 or 15 or 20 seconds. Release, stop, go again, and repeat about 3 times if you can on each leg. So even though this might be the side that's giving you grief, do the other side as well. So that's so to do the other leg, foot goes on the thigh. You either have the foot on the floor or lift the heel, and then you can put your hands on here to make it a little more intense if need be. Okay, so pause, do this, hold for 40 to 60 seconds, release and do the other side. Okay. To do that on the floor, come onto the floor. So you can either do it seated or on the floor, whichever works best for you. So it's exactly the same movement pretty much. So you come onto the floor, the foot comes onto the opposite thigh as before. Make sure the hips are square so you're not twisting. And then again, slide the foot that's on the floor, slide that in, and that might bring on something intense in here. If it doesn't, lift the heel on the foot that's on the floor. If that still feels nothing's happening, then bring that foot off the floor, and that will probably bring something on in here. I imagine you wouldn't need to go any further, but if you do, you can just put a little bit of pressure onto this knee with the hands, and you just push away gently, and at the same time you brace with the opposite leg. So again, you would hold that if you can for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, up to 60 seconds if you can. You don't have to do it in one go, you can do it over a couple of movements. So finish, do the other side, and then repeat again. A couple of other things that are good if you've got sciatic symptoms, if you like, are just to release these muscles in the lower back. So with your feet flat on the floor, if you imagine drawing the pubic bone towards the belly button, that should make your back flatten right into the floor. And then you just release back away again. So you've just got a tiny little air gap here. So you slide the pubic bone towards the belly button, shoulders relaxed. So you really flatten the small of your back into the mat so there's no space here. And then you come off that. So I would suggest that you do that probably about 8, 10, 12 times, nice and slowly. And when you come into that position, that's where you get the release work and the stretching or the lengthening. The other good thing is to just bring the knee in and hold it. So straight in towards the chest on the same side. Again, hold that for about 40 to 60 seconds. This all takes patience. Or you can take it across to the other side. So diagonal stretch as well, knee towards the opposite shoulder. So it's quite subtle. And again, holding that. And then do the other side as well. It's really worth it. And then just to get a little bit of movement in the lower back, you can do some hip rolls. We call these hip rolls in Pilates, or knee rolls. And you just gently roll the knees from side to side. So the feet and the knees stay together. So my foot's come off the floor on this side, but my knees and ankles are staying together. And if your back's not brilliant, don't go too far. Just about halfway towards the floor will be ample. So just going from side to side, and that will just release all into the lower back area. And again, about 12 of those on each side. Each time you come back into center, make sure your back is touching the floor in that lower area. So the lower back touches the floor briefly before you go to the other side. So about 12 of those on each side, as I said. And the other thing that you can do for these symptoms is to use, somewhere here, I've got a tennis ball. And you can either do this sitting on a chair. So you would take the tennis ball and pop it under the side of the glute where you're getting literally that pain in the butt, and just sit on it there. Hold it where you've got a tender spot, and just sit on it for a good 40 seconds again, or even up to a minute, 2 or 3 times a day. You can also do that on the floor. So either a hard chair or onto the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, it requires a little bit more work through your arms. But again, you can probably just lower yourself a little easier onto this one. So you just, again, hold it there. So some useful, maybe try them if you've got symptoms of sciatica or piriformis. And I hope that's helpful for you.